Mason and the Freemasons, written and illustrated by Antonia Barbosa, dedicated to my whole family. Introducing Mason, Mr. Crosby, Bernard, Scott, and the Level 4 Freemasons. There was once a sort of secret society called the Freemasons. They led regular lives, but twice a week they went to the only hidden lodge in the world. It was an abandoned factory right next to Niagara Falls. They lived on the New York side, not the Canadian side, so it was extremely busy, even in the lodge. All of the Freemasons were friends and good people until something bad happened. One of the Freemasons of the name Mrs. Crosby got swallowed whole by their pet Loch Ness monster the Grand Master had taken from Loch Ness, Scotland. The monster's name was Scott. After Miss Crosby got swallowed, the Freemasons decided to stop having meetings in the lodge for a year because everybody knew that she had a family who'd be looking for her. When the year finally passed, the Freemasons were pretty sure nothing happened, so they started meeting again. But while they were gone, somebody noticed there was a purse on top of the brand new bookshelf they used to get inside the lodge, and the purse belonged to Miss Crosby. Also, there were some words on top that said, "No Freemason lodge behind this bookshelf. Stay away." Hello, my name is Mason, and I am 11 years old, and I was trying to prove to the people who doubt me, which includes pretty much everybody I know, that there are Freemasons here in New York, but everybody thought I was crazy, and they didn't care, not even my own father. I can't believe that my own flesh and blood did not even care because the Freemasons most likely killed my mother. Back then, this is what my father thought of me.
Hello, my name is Mr. Crosby, and I am Mason's father. Mason and I do not have a lot of money since his mother's disappearance. She had half our money, so we had to make some changes, even taking Mason out of school. I guess that was a bigger change for me than for him, because he really hated school, and he was really happy when I took him out. But I also think that something has gotten into him, because now he thinks that his mother was secretly a Freemason, and that there is some secret lodge in an abandoned factory, all because their purse was found in there. Oh yeah, he also thinks the Freemasons killed her. Don't get me wrong, I have loved Mason all my life, and I still love him now. But I get a little embarrassed whenever he talks his nonsense in restaurants. I don't want people next to us to say that my son is crazy. I want to help him get over this, but I don't know how.
That was what my father thought of me. Pretty messed up, right? At around 4 in the afternoon, one day, my father and I went over to my uncle's house because my cousin had a baseball game. His team won the state championship because the other team got stuck in traffic and ended up showing up 2 hours late. By the time that I got home, it was already 7:30, so I made myself some bacon and waffles for dinner. But when I was putting the waffles in the toaster, I hit my head on the snack cabinet and ended up falling and blacking out. When I woke up, somebody was pressing the doorbell over and over again, so I got up to go check the front door. When I opened it, I saw the Emperor of Canada dressed in a robe, a weird hat, and sunglasses. I asked him, "What are you doing in here?" Then the Emperor of Canada replied,
I am a level 4 Freemason.
"Sure you are," he said very slowly in reply. "I am, can't you tell by the clothes that I am wearing?" he said with a smirk. You think these are not clothes that Freemasons are supposed to wear, but I am the Grand Master, he said very seriously, but I was not falling for it. "Okay then, what are you here to do to me?" I sounded scared, but I was actually trying not to laugh. "Did you really buy it?" he said, surprised. "Nope. You also just admitted that you were being told to do it, and I'm 99% sure who put you up to this," I said with a smirk. "My only question is, how much are you being paid to mess with me?" he answered very excitedly.
Your father is paying me $5,000.
I slammed the door and played some Clash of Clans on my bed before I went to sleep. I was very disappointed in my father for spending so much money we had, but right as my head hit the pillow, I heard a Scottish voice that sounded a lot like the Emperor of Canada, and it said, "Go to the factory where your mother's purse was found." I was really hoping that my father was not paying anyone to play another Emperor of Canada trick on me, so I went to his room, but he was sound asleep. I was happy when I got in. I was happy when I figured out that something was actually happening, so I ran to the factory as fast as I could. When I got in, I looked to the left, and there was nothing that way but spiders. I looked to the right, and I saw a bookshelf. I had seen mystery movies before, so I started pulling the books until I finally pulled the right one. When I pulled the right book from the bookshelf, it just disappeared. Behind the bookshelf was a perfectly cut out hole leading into a room. I decided to walk in, and the first thing I saw was a lit up fish tank. On the other side of the room, everything else was pitch black. Suddenly, a light in the middle of the room just turned on, and I heard something splash in the tank. I looked in there, and I saw a giant sea monster. I fainted. When I woke up, there was a middle-aged man right in front of me holding an empty bucket, and I asked him, "What happened to me?" He answered very calmly, "You saw Scott and then you just fainted." "Wait, what?" I said, very confused. "Who are you and who is Scott?" He answered instantly, "I am Bernard, the Grand Master from Scotland. Scott is Nessie's son. He is 3 times the size of a normal Loch Ness monster. Everybody else here is a level 4 Freemason." I was shocked, but I pretended this was all normal and I did not say anything. But all of a sudden, Bernard called a 5-minute recess. During the 5-minute recess, I was desperate to prove to the world that the Freemasons had a secret lodge. So I grabbed my phone from my pocket and videotaped Bernard saying, "Scott, are you excited for tomorrow? Because tomorrow is the day that we will become the rulers of the world. Ha ha ha!" I decided to text the cops because it was quieter than calling them. But when I sent the message, it was very loud, and Bernard heard me. Bernard yelled, "Gah!" All I did was run because I knew that if I stopped, it was game over. But Bernard grabbed something that looked like a machine gun and shot it. Strangely, it shot donuts. I was happy about that, but I just kept running. Right as I got out of the building, the cops showed up. Bernard must have known they were coming because he disappeared. First, though, he had a little trick up his sleeve. I went home feeling calm because I thought my problems were over. But the next day, when I woke up, I looked out the window and I saw Scott destroying Niagara Falls. I ran outside right away, and I started feeding Scott food, hoping he would calm down. But nothing worked until I happened to throw a jelly donut. After that, he started changing colors. Then there was a whole lot of throw up coming out of his mouth. And guess what came out? My mother! She was totally fine. She just had a whole lot of throw up on her. And guess what else came out? Bernard. He was a little injured because Scott chewed on him once or twice. Most importantly, I finally got to see my mother again. At the end of the day, I proved to everyone who doubted me that there were indeed a Freemason lodge in New York, and I ended up making a book about this adventure. And oh yeah, you just finished reading it. Be on the lookout for my next book.